Back to Nate Wiggins tape. We're going to watch 12 plays from one game. My aim is for us to watch them in chronological sequence as the game flowed. Play number 1, Nate at the top of our screen. One thing you'll notice is that Nate is a physical bump and run type corner through the route, and that Clemson will match him up against all body types. Very often it seems he's matched up against bigger and broader. Off the ball, you'll notice that Nate checks the receiver. As the receiver gets into his break, he tries to throw Nate by him. Nate is just as physical, stays in phase with the receiver. Once again, Nate is at the top of our screen. He could stand to be a little bit more physical off the ball. Certainly, I think, in squeezing the receiver as the receiver gets by him, Nate ends up trailing, and they get him over the top. I think Nate's comfortable in this position. You can see the receiver does push off to gain separation. This is not called. Does tackle him before he reaches the end zone. Nate's got a short memory. You'll see that through this game. Nate in off coverage at the top of our screen. He looks very comfortable in his back pedal and coming out of his back pedal. During this coverage, we see good change of direction and high-level route anticipation as he stays with the receiver. Nate at the top of our screen, very physical off the ball and through the route. Once again in tight coverage on a bigger receiver. I thought Nate played scramble drill much better later in the year and showed improvement in that regard. Really like what the last 2 plays show in terms of his ability to shoot his arms, stop the feet of the receiver, really lock him up and ride him through the route. Very reminiscent of Jimmy Smith, Marlon Humphrey. As a tackler, I see zero lack of physicality and an absolute desire to bring the ball carrier down and, if possible, punish him. Nate's at the bottom of our screen. You'll get a good look at his speed as he drives on this downhill and makes a physical tackle. Nate once again in off coverage and over the inside receiver. This is a straight vertical from this receiver, and he gets a step on Nate. The ball falls incomplete, but Nate gets away with a pass interference. We'll watch it from this angle. You can see how sweet his feet are in this back pedal. You'll notice, however, that as the receiver makes his break, runs this in-breaking route, Nate coming out of his back pedal gets his feet crossed, causing him just to lose 1 step. I mentioned earlier that I thought he improved a great deal through this season. So far as it relates to plastering the receiver on a scramble, this is great coverage here and a sublime use of his hands to break this football up. Very good example of his ball skills. He's at the top of our screen. This angle provides a much better view of Nate breaking this pass up. As I said, I think this is a sublime play by him, tracking the football. Watch him play through the receiver's hands here at the catch point. Watch it again. Nate is a big game type player. He makes big plays in big games, very often closing out games and finishing games in coverage. See him close this game out, recognizing the route that's being run, reading the quarterback's intentions, firing downhill, and intercepting the pass.